calls me a speedy teapot, so. And a golf cart. Yeah, my name is Jim Verity, and I graduated from UCF. Back then it was FTU. Yeah, go Knights. Have a granddaughter that is a UCF student now, and I have a daughter who graduated from UCF. My wife graduated from UCF, so yeah, we're kind of fans of UCF. But I joined the sheriff's office in '73 after graduating. Back then football wasn't even thought of at the campus, but after 5 years of road patrol, I realized my personality was not tough enough to be on the road. I was too nice. So I transferred in the academy and became an instructor for 2.5 years. And following that, I became one of the very first SROs in the state of Florida and almost the nation in 1981, where they decided, well, they saw that the rapport between the public and law enforcement was going downhill, mainly because of the invention of the car for patrolling and increased population. So we just didn't have that communication going anymore, and they realized in order to fight crime, we need to have a positive rapport with our populace. So they decided, well, let's start with the kids in school. And our mission in '81, when I was one of the first SROs, was to go into the schools and break down that barrier with the kids and have a good rapport with them. Because after all, kids, they know what's going on in their neighborhoods as well as what's going on in school. So here I was assigned to a middle school to start with, one of 6, as I say. And at that time, and it's not much different now, we had over 30, 40 applicants to become one of those 6 SROs. So it was quite a selection process. They wanted to make sure that the people put in the schools weren't the typical hard-ass cop. You know, we were, and my biggest mission, like during lunchtime, was to walk around the cafeteria and find those tables where I got a hostile vibe from the kids. And I'd force myself down with them and sit with them and find out why they hated police and work with them so that maybe they didn't really trust the cop out in the streets, but they trusted me, and they would come tell me things they wouldn't tell other people. And so it was working out successful, but we learned something real quick too. Now, my basic salary was just a part of what it cost to put an SRO on campus. I went to personnel and I found out that my slot cost the agency about $200,000. When you look at my salary, you look at insurance, bonding, my uniforms, my equipment, the patrol car, all the training that we do, it's around $200,000 a year. And so in Orange County, it's not a 50-50 thing. It's a 60% by law enforcement, 40% by the schools, so that the law enforcement agency retains control of it. Because if it was 50-50, the argument could be, well, the principal controls the SRO. And I found out early when I started, the principal's main goal is not only campus security and education, but liability. So they look for warm bodies that they can place in strategic places on campus for student monitoring. And I found that my principal, along with other principals, right away said, oh, another warm body that we can stick in hall duty, that we can stick on traffic control before and after school. And so I argued, I said, my mission, if I'm going to be campus security, is omnipresence. I can't, because if I was a student at that school and I wanted to create harm, my first target would be the SRO. Take out the SRO, and then you can do what you want, create havoc on the campus. And I didn't want students to know at 11 o'clock I had hall duty here, at 11:30 I had to be there, And it also kept me during lunchtime from having that ability to mix with the kids and talk to them and build that rapport. So that's when our agencies decided, okay, we need to change the contract and make it clear by paying at least 60% of the salary that the law enforcement agency was in charge and the principal lost that ability to assign us administrative duties. So I could have that omnipresence. I read in the paper about, I think it was the Guardian in Brevard County or Broward County, that he has a routine each day. He directs traffic, then he greets the students, and then he locks the gate, and then he does this, and then he does that. And I'm saying, okay, if I was a student that was going to target that campus, I would know his routine and where he's going to be at any one time. And that is contrary to proper security. On the campuses I worked, students didn't know when I was going to be, where I was going to be. You know, one day before school, I might be in my patrol car patrolling the area to check, you know, how the kids are coming to school and all. The next day, I might be at the bus stop. But it was never the same routine. And during lunch shifts, you know, I might come in and disappear, and who knows where I was. And the whole thing was I could be in the classroom guest speaking on a particular topic. But having a radio too allowed me with custodians. Kids do things in front of custodians like they're invisible. And I mean, you know, I could be anywhere on campus and I'd have a custodian radio to me. Hey, I got kids over here smoking pot, whatever it might be. You know, so even though I wasn't at any particular place, because of the radio, I had the ability to respond quickly anywhere. And after Columbine, we began that special training, Move to Contact. You may have heard of that. And that's where it was seen that we just can't, if there's a shooting, stand back and wait for SWAT to come and let SWAT go into the campus. We had to move immediately. And we knew that as SROs. And besides our annual in-service training and days at the firing range, we had at least 2 weeks every year, 2 days every year, specialized in Move to Contact. And we knew as SROs that that was our primary mission, that if there was a shooting, we were to respond. And I'm sorry, but the Parkland situation, that deputy should have never been allowed to retire and receive a pension. To me, he was a total coward in what he did. And I know people will differ, but if I knew there was a shooting on my campus, I would have been the first one right there hunting down that shooter and doing my best to take him out, even if it meant my own life. Because as we knew, as law enforcement officers, when you confront somebody with an AR-15, they'll go right through your vest. The vest has no protection against a high velocity rifle like that. A handgun, yes, but a rifle, no. But I wouldn't have cared. As a father with 2 daughters and all, I mean, these kids on my campus were just like kids, my own kids. And what I saw in the Parkland situation was, it's just like a soldier in combat who doesn't want to do his job to save others.
That's right.
Doesn't want to sacrifice himself to save others. It's just part of the job, something that you accept. I also want to add the Guardian program, where some counties are looking at hiring retired police officers, retired firemen, retired servicemen. It takes a special person to go into a school and have a rapport with the kids. Because as I say, you can be a security guard on campus with an armed weapon, but if you don't have a rapport going with those kids, if you don't have that kind of personality, it's just like teachers. You know, it takes a special teacher to teach kindergarten through 3rd grade that wouldn't survive in middle school or high school. And the same thing, a high school or middle school teacher wouldn't survive in kindergarten or 1 through 3 grades. And so police officers. It takes that special person to be able to, and we have elementary school SROs that have a completely different personality from those in the high school. Just because it takes that different personality to have a rapport with the kids going. And you got to have a rapport to know what's going on your campus. Additionally, I look at, when they were first looking at arming teachers, I thought, oh my God, with my wife's a retired teacher and both my daughters are teachers right now, I know that where are they going to carry their gun? I mean, are they going to carry it on them? Well, chances are bad kids are going to know they're carrying the gun. And if there's a conflict, that bad kid is going to try to pull that gun off that teacher. If they store it in their purse. Okay, I'll try to wrap it up quick. Both my daughters have had their purses gone into while it was locked in their desk, while they were at lunch, whatever, thinking it was safe. If you keep a gun in a purse, that desk can be opened up and then you can be taken out of the purse. If it's in a safe, if a bad guy with a gun comes into your classroom, you're going to have time to go to your safe and unlock it and grab the gun. And teachers, as I know, have enough on their hands. They don't need to worry about firearm safety and firearm training in addition to all of their workshops and their responsibilities. They don't need that. An officer on campus with the gun, that, for one thing, we carry safety holsters designed so that you have to wear that holster in order to get the gun out. And we went through extensive training on how to get the gun out ourselves, from our safety holsters. So they're designed, if the bad guy wants to fight a police officer and try to take the gun away, they're not going to be successful in getting that gun out of the holster. You have to wear it to do it. But, okay, I'll kind of wrap up. I get worried.